Hello and welcome to Stress Management Answers. I'm Susan, the Stress Management Equalizer. And today we're going to take a look at a very popular question for people who are stressed out. And that's, I hate my job, and what should I do? Okay, first of all, you may not necessarily hate your job. You just might hate some aspect of it or some part of it. And it would benefit you better than just say, up and quitting, to identify what the problem is. So the key really is to identify what it is that you hate about your job and try to resolve that problem if it's possible. Quitting your job might be the only solution in some cases, but in other cases, you should try to see if you can fix the problem before you decide to jump ship. Now, what this video is about is first trying to identify what the problem is, brainstorming some possible solutions, and then making a decision. You want to start by being honest with yourself and your situation. Okay, what the best outcome is for this situation will be based on how honest you are about how you feel and what you really want to do. Now, let's start by identifying what it is about your job that you hate. I mean, it could be more than one thing. That's possible. It could be the whole thing. But probably in most cases, it's really only one aspect of the job, and maybe that is resolvable. So let's say, for example, it could be, is it the people? Now, that people would fall into, depending on the type of job that you have. It could be coworkers. It could be your supervisor, your management, or maybe customers if you work in some type of service industry. Next, is it maybe what it is that you actually do? Maybe it's the task at hand. Okay. It could also be the schedule. Maybe you're not a daytime person. You could be a nighttime person. Or maybe you're not a nighttime person. Maybe you're a daytime person. Is it the environment? Is it your environment that you're having a problem with? Now, if it's your coworkers, for example, since we were talking about people, try to resolve the problem with your coworkers. You could do it directly, face to face, and just confront the person. Or you should actually let your supervisor know. Particularly if in the cases of you are being bullied, you're being sexually harassed, or if there's a clash of personalities. Now, you probably could let your human resources department also know, because they probably will find out about it. And they're supposed to be trained in mediation, how to mediate between two parties on how to resolve a problem, particularly within a company. They're supposed to be. So give them a chance to do it, And you want to also keep records of incidences that have happened. Write it all down. Now, if it's your supervisor, you want to do the same thing pretty much, but try to resolve the problem with them directly. Maybe they don't know what it is that they're doing. Maybe they're not aware of it. Secondly, if you can't resolve the problem, then by all means, file a complaint with Human Resources. But again, you have to keep records of what it is that they did when they did it. So when you file your complaint, you'll be able to back it up with, okay, this happened on this date, and this is in violation of that or this, whatever your company rules are. Now, another consideration is, if things are just too unpleasant, and you really don't want to confront people because you're afraid of bad blood or whatever, you might consider just moving to another department within the company, if that's an option. You never know. Now, if it's the actual work, again, you need to be honest with yourself. I know some people, they want to think, well, no, my whole family has always done this type of work, but maybe that's not the thing for you. That's a personal thing. and if the job is too physical or too strenuous, then you need to consider that. Maybe the job is too sedentary. Maybe you're somebody who likes to get up and walk around. Is the job uninteresting? Is it too monotonous? Maybe it's too hazardous. In all of those cases, even I realize you probably knew about that before you were hired or you accepted the job. So when you started out in the job, you were all excited about it, but as time went on, it started to wear on you. And now what you need to do is you need to strive for balance. So, for example, if your job is sedentary, you might want to add some exercise after work. Maybe that's the thing, is that you were always an active person, and then when you got a particular job, you had to give up some of your exercise. Well, don't give it up. Just add it maybe after work or on the weekend or something like that, so you can balance things out. If the job is incredibly physically strenuous, make sure you get enough rest, and you get some well nutrition, and find some relaxed time. If it's uninteresting, then maybe ask your boss if you could add a little variety. Many jobs that are very monotonous, what they'll do is they'll rotate people out to do different things. So they, one person who, rather than coming there and doing one job for 8 hours, they'll have them do maybe 3 jobs during the day, 3 small little things, and they'll rotate those people around. That's what they usually do in such jobs where it's monotonous. Now, things that are out of your control. If your schedule is not flexible, okay, that's out of your control. If your environment is too extreme, such as it's too hot or too cold, too noisy, maybe even too quiet, that's probably out of your control. The location of your job, where you work. Now, obviously you would have known that prior to getting the job or accepting it. But the thing about location is that if you're already, getting stressed out over the job or some other aspect of the job, such as the people or the task itself, it can be an effort for you to get up in the morning and try to go to work. And do a long commute. And so location can become a factor. It may not necessarily have been the initial problem, because you probably knew about it when you first started, but location and having to go through a commute every day can be very stressful. But that's out of your control wherever the company is positioned. So hating your job is also a sign of burnout. And I'm not going to go into burnout in this video. I have another video for that, and you can look that up. Now, sometimes you just need a vacation, and it could be just that simple. Or maybe you may need a little more time off, or some type of extended time off. So you need to consider that. You may come to the conclusion that a career or a job change is what you need. And if that's the case, you might want to start looking into maybe getting some new type of training. If you find that that's what you really want to do. Now, for people who are experiencing burnout, getting some type of counseling, and even if it hasn't gone to that depth, getting a little bit of counseling on the subject matter to get some clarity and maybe a different perspective on things is useful. Now, in the case of where you're kind of leaning toward, I need a change, or maybe it is a time to make a change in your life, if you feel that getting another job is the appropriate choice for you, then you might want to make efforts to do it while you still have a job. The reason that that's the case is that it tends to be a little bit easier to get a job when you have a job. And that's probably because a potential employer will be a little suspicious that if you don't have a job when you're coming to them, that maybe you were fired from your last job. And then they're going to say, well, I wonder why they were fired. Even though you don't tell them that you were, they might suspect that. And it could be that you were just laid off too, but it just seems to be easier to get a job when you already have a job. Now, as I said before, sometimes quitting is the solution. It's better to quit a job that you hate than to stick it out and be constantly stressed out. That can take a toll on your health in the long run. Okay, you're not doing yourself any favors or the employer any favors. You're doing them a disservice by staying if you hate your job. Now remember, be honest with yourself when making this decision. Is it some aspect of the job? Is it the whole thing? You know, do you think that you would be happier someplace else? Take the time to identify what the problem is. Try to resolve the problem, and then decide on a course of action, and then take the action. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe to this channel. I'd also like to invite you to my website, which is livelifeproductive.com, and there you'll find a free ebook if you wish to sign up for my list. It's called Easy Productivity Secrets: How to Get More Done in Less Time. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on another video.